welcome back, everybody. It's time to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's BEALL Applied Innovation Center. And today, well, I'll let Ruben introduce him. Somebody I think he's known for a year or two here.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. And welcome, everybody, to our podcast because our community is your community, and we have a special guest today, a longtime friend, Mr. Bobby McDonald, or we more affectionately know him as Bobby Mac. So Bobby is the president of the Black Chamber of Commerce of Orange County. He's one of the leading advocates for veterans here in Orange County for decades, and he co-chairs with me, actually, the Diverse Business Leaders Coalition of Orange County. And Bobby, we look forward to a great discussion, but we love to start out our podcast always with just you telling our audience a little bit about yourself. I mean, like, you know, where you were born, who, you know, just give us a little background about who Bobby Mac is.
You think the audience really cares about what I'm... No, I'm just kidding, man. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
You know, and what I do want to say to the audience, it's an awesome feeling to be here with in this fine studio working with the Orange County Hispanic Chamber. We go back a ways, a long ways, and just as a shout out to you and the crew. Thank you for what you're doing and how you're doing it, and for being here.
We appreciate the partnership we've had for many decades.
Well, that's what we stand for. The Black Chamber has been, on the 24th of February, we'll be 39 years old.
That's right. That's right.
So I got to look forward to our 40th. But a little bit about me. I'm an L.A. native, a member of the wonderful crew that had to go through L.A. Unified School District, so 99th Street School, Gompers, in Washington, and which I like to tell people about Washington High, first in war, first in peace, and last in Southern League. But a lot of good people came out of the city, and I'm glad that I got to get up out of the city and get out here to Orange County. Went to L.A. Harbor College when I graduated from high school. Then I majored in dominoes and bid whist in the Seahawks Center, and the only one that would take my grades was the United States Navy. So I enlisted in the Navy back in 1965. Well, I'm not so sure if I remember the date. I think it was September 20th, 1965.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I remember. But went to Vietnam twice. Was in '67 and '68. Aboard USS Tripoli. We were the first aircraft carrier that was built to carry 5,000 Marines and 5 squadrons of helicopters. So we were on duty and on station up in the DMZ and along up to Da Nang to the DMZ. Made sure that the Marines that were on shore were supported. And that's what our part of the Amphib Navy and the Amphibious Forces. So I'm kind of technically a Gator Navy guy that's part Navy and part Marine.
Sure.
Which is, I don't like to tell the Marines that because they always get a little jealous because they think they're the best of the 5. But anyway, I won't tell them any different. But got out of the service, went back to L.A. Harbor College because I knew the value of education. And I just decided to go back and make up for what I did. And it was pretty cool because I got a chance to, you know, it's one of those things where there's no back door now. I can only go forward.
Right.
And my motto was, and it still is today, had there been a back door at the Alamo, all those guys wouldn't have died. They probably would have figured out a way to get out.
Sure. So
you always try to put yourself in a situation so you do have a back door, but you hope you don't need it.
Right.
And my back door was, hey, I'm in the service already. Just move forward. Get your education. And I did. I wound up graduating from L.A. Harbor College and transferring out here to Cal State Fullerton. And I had my cake, and I was eating it too. Got a chance to kind of kick back and play a little basketball. And I was on Coach White's at L.A. Harbor College's first championship team.
Wow.
And then, like I said, I got a chance to transfer out here. Oh, and I was the first black student body president at L.A. Harbor. So,
really?
Yeah, so I combined, and I was the only one on the team that was working and had a car. So I was like right now, I'm still staying pretty busy. But it was great to come out to Fullerton. And as we said before we got on air, you know, I've been out here since August of 1970.
Okay.
So I've watched the county grow and move and matriculate, and boy, has it changed. It has really changed. Some things remain the same, but it has changed.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity when I got here and graduated from Cal State Fullerton. I found out that my skill sets to play basketball were limited. And although I was good, but I wasn't as good as the rest of the guys. So I got more into the coaching area, and I was very, very wonderful. I got a chance to be the JV coach for a while. Then when Bobby Dye came out to be the coach at Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Who and Cal State Disneyland, I was one of the assistant coaches on that team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got a chance to go to the Final Eight, and we had more time. I'll tell you about all those games we beat with University of San Francisco and in New Mexico, and with Michael Cooper and those guys.
So who was the best player you guys got to play against back then?
There was a lot. You beat University of USF, and that was Quentin Daly.
Wow.
And we played. We lost to Arkansas in the last minute and a half. So we had Arkansas. The thing is, teams would get up ahead and they'd relax, and then we'd come and get them. Okay, we'd come get them. So when you think of Marvin Delp and Sidney Moncrief, those are Arkansas guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm really old school now because most people wouldn't even know who those guys were, but they were pretty doggone good guys at Arkansas and in the pros too.
Sure.
Yeah, but I decided after I graduated from Fullerton in '75, because it took me a little while, but I had to work and get to school and go to class and all that stuff. But I did it. I went to a basketball clinic up in Oakland, and I got a chance to meet the gentleman that was head of Pro Kids for the region. And Pro Kids was the shoe company that were Uniroyal. Back in the old days, up until the middle of the 80s, all our shoes were made by the tire companies. So Pro Kids, Converse, what was it? PF Flyers. All those were all made by the tire companies. In fact, on the lakes, Lake Mishawaka and stuff, all the waterproof boots, all that stuff was all made there. And so if there was a strike on the tire strikes, when Uniroyal or Firestone or whatever had a strike, it stopped all the shoes, all the productions. But then they started going offshore. Nike came along and they started going offshore, and then. But anyway, I went to work for Adidas. After this guy, I learned a little something from him. Did a little report for one of my classes. Gave it to him and told him the reason why some of those shoes weren't being sold in Riverside, Orange County, and L.A. And so I wound up getting a job. So a report that now people would probably get $200,000, $300,000 for, or $2.5 million.
Right.
I got a company car and $1,000 a month, and I was happy.
Sure.
I was really happy to graduate. So I worked for Uniroyal, which was really a wonderful experience because I got a chance to hone some of my marketing skills and sales skills, and which really, really, to this day, the skill sets that I learned, the training that I got, I'm still with me today. It's really with me today. Then from there, needless to say, things happened. Stride Rite came along and bought the shoe division from Uniroyal, and like any other salesperson, they dump you all.
Sure.
However, I was very fortunate because when I was a trainee in training, the manager in training's name was Dominic Ferlato. So when he took over as president of Stride Rite, guess who came back to work for Kids? I was working for them twice now. But anyway, I was very fortunate in 1980 to get selected to go work for another shoe company, which was Adidas. So I'm your first black sales rep to ever work for Adidas in the United States.
Really?
1980, yeah. What a historical piece that was. When you see the shoes, the little logo you have on your chest, looks like a marijuana leaf, but it ain't. If you take that little leaf and you put it together, it means three stripes encompass the world, because the Adidas did encompass the world. His name was Adidas. He got in trouble with Hitler because he made the special shoes for somebody named Jesse Owens. So when Jesse Owens won the gold medal in '36 in Berlin, boom, that was Hitler got mad and made Adolf Dassler start making boots for the army. So needless to say, Adolf Dassler got upset and changed his name to Adi Dassler. So that's how you get Adidas. But I know in your mind you're thinking it's all day I dream about sports. Okay.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Adidas. I bought my first pair of Adidas when I was a kid, they were $18, and my mom was so mad at me because for $18 back then, I'm aging myself, you could have bought 3 pairs of PF Flyers or something for $18 for Adidas. It was just a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The fun part about being with Adidas is watching their worldwide, how they did things and how they made the factory and how they did things, and they were right on point. They were perfect. Back to World War II, when the United States came in to the facility in Germany, because a lot of the shoe workers and the management spoke English, they asked the managers to manage the camps and the prisoner of wars because they spoke English.
Sure.
Yeah. But it was pretty neat to learn those kinds of stories and the history from that period. I got a chance to work with Adidas for the Olympics. And one of the things we did when we started the Orange County Sports Hall of Fame here was, Larry Myricks and Edwin Moses, all those kinds of guys, Jurgen Lenz, all those kinds of guys were all, in the Olympics. What was really neat during the Olympics in '84, Willie Knowles and a group of his friends, Rosie Greer, they had a shop. So during the Olympics, Adidas comes in and they set up a cobbler shop right there in the community. And so if, like Marcus Johnson needed special shoes, they had them made. So all those guys who had their shoes made right there. That's how detailed they are. And it was work. But unfortunately, when the Olympics was over, the Adidas company bought out all the little distributors that we were part of. And so there we go again. So I got a chance then to start working on my own with some clothing and stuff. But eventually, I decided I wanted to do something different. So in the 1990s, early 1990s, and the Black Business Association that was here, I got involved with them because I wanted to help out in the community.
Sure.
Little did I know that 2 years later, that Milton Gordon, Dr. Gordon would come in and he wanted to do more for African-American male students at Cal State Fullerton. So that got my involvement with the chamber, and I helped put together the first scholarship fundraiser and stuff for schools. In fact, actually, we were doing African-American scholarships for Fullerton, Irvine, and Chapman at the time, and then we increased it to do things with the 8 community colleges.
Well, how long have you been involved with the chamber?
Too long. No, I'm just kidding. Since 1990.
Okay.
Yeah. I took over as president kind of in 1994, 95. I haven't found a real job yet. No, I'm kidding. But the bottom line is, I couldn't ask for anything better. The things we've done, my involvement and our involvement with the community, us, you and I, getting together back with the Orange County President's Council, making sure that we really had to utilize that diverse community we had to try to make a positive impact and difference. And wow, when we stop and look at what we've done, and I say we done, it's been wonderful. From a legislative standpoint, from an advocacy standpoint, from a community standpoint, for us really taking time out and to make sure that we respect, honor, and participate in Black History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, Women's History Month, Native American History Month, boom, and knowing the time levels. In fact, that was part of what we did when we first started at Orange County President's Council, was to make sure that we had a meeting and a calendar so we wouldn't step on each other's toes, but we also planned to be there to help support each other.
That's right. That's right. Well, speaking of calendars, what are some of the things you have going on this year? I know you have the anniversary on the 24th of this month, right? You're doing it.
Well, it'd be the
39th.
Future Leaders Luncheon. Well, we started back in 2019, maybe 20. And we started that because I was finding, and I was watching the change of the dynamics in the community. There wasn't that much, people didn't know what was going on in the community. Okay? The chamber did, but that's good to know. But Bobby, how are you going to get that out to the rest of the world?
Right.
So at that point in time, we had maybe 3 or 4 individuals that had become mayors or city council people. Mama Mayor over at Lake Forest was your first Black city councilwoman and the first Black mayor in Orange County, in part because of Todd Spitzer.
Oh.
Todd Spitzer was there. I'm in the audience, and Todd Spitzer brought that home. I won't go too deeper into it, but he did, and that was awesome because I'm in the room. And then Karen Robinson became not only the second, but she was the first Black mayor and councilwoman in the city of Costa Amazing, and then she became the first woman Black judge in Orange County. Those kinds of things that most people would never know about. From a business perspective, one of the highlights for me was at one point in time, the top 4 employers in Orange County were all headed by African-American males, black men. Okay, you had Michael Drake here at UC Irvine.
That's right, Michael Drake.
You had President Gordon over at Cal State Fullerton. You had Greg Weir over at UPS, and then drumroll, Ed Greer at Disneyland.
That's right.
I mean, those kinds of things, that it's not that people take it for granted, they didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming up this month, it's even better, because now I found a couple of things that I didn't know. We have 2 black female city council members on Los Alamitos, Miss Dobie and Miss Trish Murphy, Miss Dobie.
Okay.
And most people would never know that. We've got 6 black judges, and 1 judge just got appointed to be on the Central District. All right. And didn't you go to some place called UCLA?
I did.
Okay. Well, just so happens that judge is Fred Slaughter Jr.
Right.
Okay. And Fred Slaughter Sr. was on John Wooden's first championship team with UCLA.
1964.
So that kind of little small stuff, you can say it has, and we're real good friends. In fact, every time we get together, I always tell him about his dad, because his dad was also one of the first black agents in sports.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, it's those kinds of things and connecting the dots. So, but anyway, on the Future Leaders Luncheon, it gives us an opportunity to get to community, have a lunch, not a banquet, but a lunch, and highlight a few individuals and do something different to keep people in the loop. What we're going to do this year, everyone that comes will be able to get 3 books. First book will be Shaping Orange County by Stan Offerly. He did a real great job of highlighting all the things from Orange County since its inception. Okay. The second will be Mommy is the Mayor from Letitia Clark.
Oh, yeah.
And then the third one is going to be the Constitution of the United States. Because I'm not so sure but school's not teaching civics. Hopefully we can go back to normal.
We should all be carrying a pocket constitution. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's one of the things here. And then I guess if I may slide a little bit here.
Sure.
Because of my efforts with veterans and having gone to Vietnam twice, I've been very, very blessed to carry the banner for veterans. Let me ask you a question. How are we on time?
Paul, how are we in time? 5 minutes? Okay.
All right. Well, the good news about it, I had an opportunity, the real good news, I had an opportunity to get appointed to the California Community College Board of Governors by the governor, and I got a chance to start the first ever on the board Veterans Committee. And we got a chance to start growing veteran support on the veteran service offices on all the campuses.
Okay.
And then out here, I got a chance to be a part of the Orange County Veterans Advisory Committee, and now I'm part of Valor, which I'm involved in anything and everything veterans here. But because exactly 10 years ago, there was no money coming in for veterans at all. None. Zero. Zip.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Zip. Orange County is number 3 in the state. You've got LA 1, San Diego 2, and Orange County's 3. But between the two, we didn't have anything. We do now. But we're also, my pet project is working with Valor and Nick Berardino, and we're working with putting together the new cemetery out here in Anaheim Hills.
Well, you've been one of the big advocates for that. I know. We appreciate your leadership in that. And that's just huge accomplishment, getting that done.
Well, yeah, it is. Funny story. Todd Spitzer at that time was supervisor, and he got the land. He negotiated with Donald Brin because actually the Irvine company was going to build houses up there.
Okay.
But something happened or whatever, so we got the land to put the cemetery. But Irvine was still playing with the city, doing what they wanted to do and stuff on the base there.
Sure.
So Todd Spitzer came to me and he says, "Okay, we got the land, but we can't say anything. So you can't say anything." So I thought that was pretty funny. Todd Spitzer telling me I can't say anything. Yeah, they telling me I can't say something. Yeah, okay, yeah. Mr. Loquacious telling the other loquacious be quiet. But we pulled it off. Doggone it, we pulled it off. And if you get a chance, and those listeners that are here in Orange County, if you get a chance, go down the 91 freeway toward Corona, or if you're on you get backed up a little bit on the 241 going into the 91 Corona. We put that flag there. First flag is right there.
That's awesome.
Boy, it's an awesome sight. It's an awesome sight.
You mentioned UCLA. So I went to UCLA, obviously, and I did whatever it took. I had so many different jobs, and one of the jobs I had was reading scripts. And every script, do not recommend. The only script I recommended was a script on Buffalo Soldier.
Wow.
The only script. And I know you've been, once again, a big advocate, a big historian, just somebody getting out the word about what the Buffalo Soldiers were all about. I know you were just in the Rose Parade, which was really cool. I got to see you on KTLA early on January 2nd.
Yeah.
And then you did it at your gala, too. But you've just been, like, tireless when it comes to that. You want to explain to our audience a little bit about the Buffalo Soldiers?
Sure, I will. And by the way, you said the script on the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah.
You know what the UCLA basketball player played in that movie? Mike Warren.
Mike Warren, that's right.
So
From Hill Street Blues.
Well,
Mike
but
Warren.
he was Buffalo Soldier for his Hill Street
Yes,
Blues. But a good
absolutely.
friend.
Yeah.
We played basketball against each other.
Okay, so you got to play. So
Oh yeah. I know my limitations.
So did you get to play against Pete Maravich too, or no?
No, that was Pistol Pete. He was Louisiana. I couldn't get down to Baton Rouge.
Okay, gotcha.
Bottom line is, my dad and my 4 uncles were Buffalo Soldiers during World War II.
Wow.
And they were master sergeants, which is probably the reason why I understand discipline.
Yeah.
I had an aunt that was one of the first black nurses as an officer in the United States Army as a nurse stationed down in Fort Huachuca, which is really cool from a standpoint. It was Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune and another nurse that went to the Secretary of the Army and said, hey, this is what we need. So they wound up put nurses together and sent them to Tuskegee and they sent them to Fort Huachuca. I was looking for stuff on my dad, and I wound up finding out that on my mother's side, on the Louisiana militia rolls for the War of 1812, I had 2 relatives, Vavasors, if you will. That was a maiden name, my mother's maiden name, on the rolls for Louisiana militia. So I go back to the War of 1812.
Wow.
Michael Hurd from USA Today and I both kind of wrote a book on the history of black college football, the history, education, and pride. And one of the stories in the book that we wrote, and it's all on the historical black colleges, from the football, the bands, the fraternities, all that kind of stuff that went with it. And there's a section in the book that brings it home. In 1866, the colored troops, the 66, right after the Civil War, the 62nd and 65th Colored Infantry pooled their resources and came up with $5,000. Now keep in mind, those guys were making $13 a month, $156 a year. And they came up with $5,000 in 1866 and incorporated Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Wow.
That was the value of education. And as I dug deeper into it with some of the Buffalo Soldiers, I found out that if you were caught gambling, let's use that. If you were caught gambling and you didn't know your ABCs, you went to the brig till you learned your ABCs.
Are you advocating that we do that today? Is that what you're?
No, I don't think to know, because most people in jail know their ABCs. But you're looking at 1866.
Yeah, sure.
That's the value of education.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then come to find out that my grandfather graduated from Florida A&M. He's a Rattler, so he went to a historical black college. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm loving it. The thing that we did at the banquet this year, I know we're short on time, but it was the 125th anniversary of the 25th Infantry, which is one of the Buffalo Soldier groups, that went 41 days, 1,900 miles from Fort Missoula, Montana on the 14th of June, and then wound up in St. Louis, Missouri on the 24th of July. So they went that long, 50 miles a day, on bicycles.
Yeah. And you had some of those bicycles.
1897 on bicycles.
That's right.
Yeah, so we've been riding replica bikes. And you mentioned the Rose Parade. We were part of the equestrian unit with the new Buffalo Soldiers, but we were the first bicycle group ever to be in the Rose Parade, in the history of the Rose Parade.
Really?
Yes, sir.
There was no other bike. It's interesting.
When I say that, I preface that because around the floats, they may have had bikes or something like that, or bike thing, but never a group.
A group.
Yeah, either your float equestrian or your car. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, or a band, whatever. Yeah.
We appreciate you coming out today. I know time goes really fast on this podcast, and we'll have to do this again sometime soon, but we want to appreciate our guest, Bobby McDonald from the Black Chamber of Commerce, a good friend and great leader here in Orange County. And thank you to our group at home listening to us today, too, as well, because our community is your community. So thank you, everybody. Next time.
Well, Well, there you have it. Another great reason to tune in each and every time to meet our community, the Hispanic community here in Orange County, and those that they know. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's BEALL Applied Innovation Center.